Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Waxman Bakshi. Today is January 16th, 2025. It is now 468 days that the Israeli hostages, including my cousin Agam, are in Hamas captivity in Gaza. This is the live daily briefing of the Israeli Citizen Spokesperson's Office. Please start sending your questions in the chat, and I'll answer what I can at the end. This is the latest news about the hostage release agreement. According to the Israeli Prime Minister's office, Hamas has backed out of some of the things it agreed to in the deal. Israel's cabinet was supposed to meet at 11 a.m. to approve the deal. That did not happen. Hamas created a last-minute crisis to further blackmail Israel. This comes after US Presidents Biden and Trump, as well as Qatar, said there was a deal. Hamas has been playing games with these negotiations for months. There were 34 hostages meant to be released alive until Israel recovered the remains of one. Previously, Hamas said it didn't know where all the hostages were. Hamas said it would only provide a list of living hostages after a ceasefire. For Hamas, dragging out negotiations is a way to torture the people of Israel. Hamas doesn't want to release all the hostages. It wants to hold some hostages forever and plot more massacres. Qatar is hosting Hamas and broadcasting Hamas's gloating about the miracle of October 7th. Hamas official Khalil Al-Khaya, based in Qatar, was broadcast on Qatar's TV channel Al Jazeera. The Hamas leader said October 7th was a miracle and accomplishment that will remain a source of pride. He promised Hamas will continue in their footsteps until they achieve victory or martyrdom. For the past 15 months, Qatar wasn't mediating a hostage deal. Qatar was telling Hamas to hold the hostages until Hamas got a good deal. Qatar wants Hamas to rule Gaza and massacre more Israelis. Qatar and Hamas's other backers, like Turkey and even South Africa, must be held to account. The supporters of Hamas blocked life-saving aid to hostages. They encouraged Hamas to keep the hostages for 468 days and counting. They tried to tie Israel's hands so that it couldn't stop Hamas from attacking. They are behind Hamas's blackmail, and they are doing whatever they can to keep Hamas in a position of power. We need more pressure on Hamas and Hamas's patrons until every hostage is home, and Hamas cannot threaten the people of Israel again. Let's take some questions from our audience watching live on social media.
Thank you, Ashley. Our first question comes from Alice on Instagram. There was a report that the Houthis will also cease fire against Israel. Have you heard anything about this? Will the Iranian regime tell its proxies to stop attacking Israel?
I laugh because, firstly, it doesn't matter what they would say. I don't trust organizations such as the Houthis or the Iranian regime. But no, I have not seen any official statements. They've been saying for months that that their attacks on Israel are as a result or due to the ongoing war with Gaza. So possibly having a ceasefire now, we may see them stopping the attacks. But don't be mistaken. It doesn't mean that we're going to have peace with Iran or with the Houthis tomorrow. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be planning and plotting the next attack on Israel, rearming, regrouping, continuing to try to build proxies around our borders so that the next time the area is heated, they will have more fronts. That is what they do. When it is quiet, they arm, they develop nuclear weapons, and they develop all the capabilities to continue to attack Israel.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Adam on Instagram. Do we know what exactly Hamas did to create this crisis that's delaying the Knesset vote on a ceasefire?
I don't know exactly the details of that, but I could only assume it has to do with, timelines, maps, certain little things. They're probably very insignificant things just to make this deal not go through. It's just to terrorize Israel, to continue to try to tear apart the Israeli people, and especially the families. And as a family, I can tell you that these days where we are kind of hanging in the middle and we don't know what to happen. At one moment we're happy, the other moment we're sad, at the other moment we're frustrating. It really is the purest form of evil, this psychological warfare.
Our next question comes from Marjorie on Instagram. If Qatar is a player in this, why are the negotiations being held there?
Good question. Qatar is basically the only country at this point that has any sort of leverage on Hamas. They are hosting the Hamas leaders there. They are funneling the funds. They will probably play a significant role in rebuilding Gaza. They have been funneling the money to Hamas to continue to indoctrinate the people of Gaza. And so they are the only people who have any leverage, who have any direct ties to Hamas and its leaders. And therefore, unfortunately, they have to play a really significant role in mediation.
Thank you. Our next question comes from YouTube. There are videos circulating of civilian celebrations of, quote, Hamas's victory. Do you believe that these videos represent widespread support for Hamas among Palestinians, or is this Hamas propaganda?
It's hard to say. I do believe, obviously, there's a lot of Hamas propaganda here, but it's important to mention that these videos, until yesterday, they were crying genocide, and all of a sudden it has become a victory. It's pretty ridiculous, and I think it's important. I want to bring in my personal opinion here. Whatever happens now, whatever ceasefire deal, hostage agreement, this is not a win for Hamas. This is also not a win for Israel. Nobody wins right now. Nobody can come out winning from this when there has been so much suffering, really, on both sides. And so those images of so-called celebration, my personal opinion is that it does not represent the people of Gaza, but the people of Gaza who want to speak up against Hamas and blame Hamas for the destruction and for everything we have seen over the past 15 months, they can't do it because they know that right now Hamas is still there. They still have power. And any opposition that people will try to show now within Gaza, we know what Hamas does to its opposition. They eliminate them, not in friendly ways. And so unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing many videos and many voices of people blaming Hamas for this. We will see the videos of the ones supporting Hamas. Unfortunately, that's what we will see.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Lizzie. Do you think that President Trump's all hell to pay threat has led us to this moment?
Personal opinion is absolutely. There isn't much that has changed. There are some nuances in the details that have changed between the deal that was on the table in May and the deal that is now hopefully going to be approved. The only thing that has changed since then is Trump coming into power and not only being able to really pressure Qatar and to bring Hamas to the table and to agree to the deal, but also its pressure on the Israeli government to make sure that this deal happens on both sides. Now, do I think that it is the same type of pressure that is being put onto both sides? No. I think that, and I hope, and again, this is just speculation and just, again, my hopes, is that the Trump administration, which looks like from right now, it looks like they understand Israel's situation. They understand that in order to pursue this deal, Israel needs to know that the US administration will back it in defending itself when it needs to defend itself. And that I believe that plans are being made for the day after. So what is going to happen after Israel slowly pulls out its forces from Gaza? And we see that Hamas is going to try to regroup. And so I believe that knowing that the Trump administration will support Israel allows the Israeli government also to accept a deal that is not a good deal for Israel. But we know that we will have the support in the future when we will need to enforce our security and our safety.
Thank you. The next question comes from Instagram. A personal question. As a family member of a hostage, can you please explain what the families are going through at this moment?
It is an emotional roller coaster. There is a very, very bittersweet feeling in the air. So my cousin Agam, she is, again, supposed to be on the list of the 33 hostages being released in the initial deal. We don't know about her condition. We don't know about her physical condition, and we certainly don't know about her mental condition. We don't know when she will be released. There are conflicting reports in the media. Some are saying Sunday, some are saying next week. So we don't know when it will happen. Every day is hell for them there. And it's bittersweet for a number of reasons. This is just the first phase. There aren't 33 hostages in Gaza. There are 98 hostages in Gaza. And we will not stop until all 98 come. And we expect that the Trump administration will enforce and ensure that nothing happens to stop this agreement in its process. As we've seen last time, Hamas, stopped the agreement in the middle, and we were supposed to see Shiri, Ariel, and Kfir Bibas coming home over a year ago. So we are hoping that nothing will interfere this time, that we will continue to the second phase so that we can see all the hostages released. And of course, it is bittersweet because we are making a deal with the devil. And so Israel, unfortunately, has to release thousands of terrorists with blood on their hands, one of which murdered in cold blood the Fogel family. He stabbed 3 innocent children in their beds before murdering their parents. These are the type of people that Israel needs to release from its prisons in order to see my cousin come home. And so this really is bittersweet. But we know that as a country and in our values, we do everything to bring everyone home. Every life matters.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Our next question comes from Instagram. This is our final question. Does this ceasefire mean that there's finally an end to this war? And what does the day after look like, if we know?
So we must remember that we've had multiple ceasefires in the past with Hamas. Ceasefire does not mean truce. It does not mean peace. It does not mean that there are not forces in Gaza that want to continue to regroup, rearm, and it doesn't mean that their motivation to destroy the state of Israel is going anywhere. And so don't be confused. This ceasefire is something temporary. It means that we must move to create an environment where there will be peace. Now, this is something that both sides need to work on. This means that, in my opinion, we need to see the Abraham Accords continue. We need to see countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Morocco come in and help us rebuild Gaza, give a real future for the people of Gaza, to make them not want to destroy the state of Israel, but rather live in peace with the state of Israel. Because that is what the people of Israel want. They want to live in peace. We don't want to send our children to war. We don't want to send our young men to be soldiers. We want to live in peace. And so the day after has to involve our Muslim and Arab countries that are willing to join forces to bring a real change to the Middle East. And of course, not forgetting that there is still the overarching threat of the head of the snake, which is Iran. And we will not stop until their regime is brought down and freedom is brought to the people of Iran. Thank you very much. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Israel time, 8 a.m. East Coast time. Thank you for watching, and let's hope for good news.